Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. So there's been a lot of new champions added over the last few months, especially with Doom Tower inside the game and a new champion kind of batch on top of that with the Christmas Fusion. Today I thought I would re-rank the top 25 overall most powerful champions in the game. One quick disclaimer here is that, you know, I kind of value these champions on their overall versatility and utility that they add to the game. So there will be some, you know, champions, Hegemon for example, that is not on this list, mainly because he only really excels in one area, arena, inside this game. So kind of a quick disclaimer there. And also I kind of wanted to, you know, share how I rank these champions, right? Is if Plarium would magically come to me and say, in this fantasy scenario,
really?
And say, Ash, we're going to give you a new account. Go ahead and choose 25 champions. Who would you want? This would be the answer to that question. So I want to pose the question to you guys, not 25 because the comments would be crazy, but, you know, top 5 champions. If you could start from scratch, you know, and get handed 5 champions or 3 champions, whatever, who would you choose? I want to see, your comments below. So jumping into the list here, starting with Banner Lords, there's a few Banner Lords that I included on my list, starting with Septimus. So Septimus is a champion who's always kind of hovered around like that top 25 area. He's been a dungeon specialist, which kind of limited, I guess, his utility in some regard. But now with Doom Tower, with all of these bosses very prone to enemy max HP attacks, his Holy Sword ability is just insane. He's definitely my most wanted champion, or at least my top 3 most wanted champion in the game. I don't own Septimus, and boy, I would love a 10-time event, I think, for Septimus. Plarium, if you're watching, it'd be really cool to own him. Really cool looking champion overall. He does more damage. Each attack has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs, and damage inflicted on each attack increases by 30% if the enemy's HP is over 50%. So yeah, he deals an insane amount of damage. He is a beast in terms of max HP champion right now inside the game. The other champion we want to include on today's list in the top 25 is Raglan, and you know, she has 2 insane abilities, right? First of all, her A1 is not bad. One enemy 3 times and then fills the turn meter of 3 random allies by 15%. Really solid to get that, you know, steady 15% turn meter fill on the A1, right? On the A2, removes all debuffs from all allies, then heals them. The heal is proportional to this champion's attack, which kind of sucks. You know, it'd be cool if it wasn't based on her attack and rather based on defense or HP or something like that. But still, her base attack is pretty high. It's just that you're not really, you know, kitting out Raglan to deal a ton of damage. However, you know, we're nitpicking one of the best champions in the game. Miracle is the best revival inside the entire game, bar none. Revives an ally with 75% HP and a full turn meter on a 2-turn cooldown. What? Insane revival ability on Raglan. She also has defense in all battles by 33%. Yeah, Raglan is just an incredible support champion inside this game. I think that's all I have for Banner Lords. Let's go ahead and move on to High Elves. So High Elves, man, you have to include Lysandra. Lysandra is the queen of speed, guys. She's incredible, and really not just her speed aura in all battles, 24%, not just energized, increased speed buff on all allies on a 4-turn cooldown for 2 turns, and the 30% turn meter fill, and the 30% turn meter depletion of all enemies. But really, this exhaustion ability is nasty. Kind of another addition to her already incredible kit. Fully depletes target's turn meter on a 3-turn cooldown. Man, I can't tell you how much I rely on this ability, not just for Fire Knight, but also for the Doom Tower bosses. It comes in so handy between Energize and Exhaustion. What just amazing synergy, all while filling turn meter and placing increased speed on your allies with a nice high base speed of 110 as well. Lysandra is a boss.
Smoke weed every day.
She is just an amazing champion. Next up in High Elves, I have Ethos. So Ethos is another champion who saw his stock rise with the introduction of Doom Tower in this game. AoE on every single attack. Actually, my bad. AoE on the A2, AoE on the A3. Hard-hitting AoE. 3-time hitting AoE on the A2. Can you tell that I don't have Ethos? I wish I did. Has a 20% chance though of granting an extra turn on the A1, and decreases enemy max HP by 15% of the damage dealt. Not too bad. A little built-in instant destroy there for the Scarab King. Just an incredible nuker inside the game. Extinguish life especially. Incredible multipliers on this skill on a 4-turn cooldown. That is Ethos, just an absolute god tier nuker inside the game. Certainly up there on my most wanted champions list. Arbiter. Arbiter is, I couldn't take her off this list, right? She was kind of borderline for me. Originally, I was going to make a top 20 champions in the game, but Arbiter is, she has to be included, at least in my opinion, obviously. I would take her because she's still one of the best arena champions in the game, and she can help you out in so many other areas of the game as well. You know, whether it be clan boss or dungeons, she's just an overall great support champion with the speed in arena battles, the AoE revival, reviving all dead allies, and then granting an extra turn if anybody is revived, and then fills a turn meter by 30%, places increased attack, and the heal on a 3-turn cooldown and Mentor of Heroes. Yeah, how can I not include Arbiter on this list? She's just a fantastic all-around support champion and absolutely god tier inside the arena as an arena lead for your speed farming teams. Odds are if you have Arbiter, you're probably using her, right? One of our first epics on the list today is Royal Guard. You guys know I'm an unabashedly huge fan of Royal Guard, and I put him inside my top 25 champions in the game. I know some of you guys might be scoffing right now. Really? Royal Guard inside your top 25? Yes, because his takedown ability is that good. And again, we've seen a rise in value in these enemy max HP damage dealing champions inside the game. So yeah, I think that Royal Guard, thank you for the new tournament position. I appreciate that for doing nothing, for looking at Royal Guard. He's so good that you gain tournament points just by looking at him. Anyway, takedown, great damage dealing ability. AoE, enemy max HP, deals a ton of damage. He also has the decreased defense on the A1. He also has an incredible attack aura for dungeons, 35%, bigger than, you know, almost every legendary attack in dungeons. And then has a 4-time at random with the decreased speed and decreased turn meter on Hamstring. It's not an incredibly hard-hitting ability, but still on a 4-turn cooldown to have the decreased speed and the turn meter reduction. It's just an incredible champion overall. Only downside on Royal Guard is his speed, rather low at 93. But Royal Guard is just such a good champion. I had to include him because he's so useful in so many areas in the game. Plenty of other champions here we could give nods to if we were doing honorable mentions, but I don't want to make this video 5 hours long, so let's keep it moving to the Sacred Order. Sacred Order, we have first off Martyr. Just like Arbiter, how can I not include Martyr on this list? I mean, just take a look at her kit. Decreased defense on the A1, on the A2. You know, she's an OG champion in the game. She used to be, what, top 3 champion, a lot of people considered. I don't know if I'd put her top 3 anymore, but geez, she's still a beast. You know, like Bastion of Faith, increased defense, and a counterattack buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Oh, still, you know, 3 years into Raid Shadow Legends going on, and we only have 3 champions still with counterattack. What the heck, Plarium?
What the heck?
What the heck, Plarium? You know, add a 4th counterattack champion in the game. How about that? When I say counterattack, I mean AoE. And then she has the decreased attack and provoke on an AoE on a 4-turn cooldown. What a great champion. Damage based on defense. Nice high base defense at 1409. Also has defense in all battles by 33%. She's a beast in clan boss. She's a beast in every dungeon, everywhere, and a tremendous support champion, and has the counterattack. Again, Martyr has to be included on today's list. There's a few honorable mentions here again. Sir Nick would definitely be on there, but I put Venus on the list. So Venus, obviously a very solid champion. She has the weaken and decrease defense on the same ability on a 3-turn cooldown. I mean, and the HP burn on an AoE as well on a 4-turn cooldown. Really, that's all you need to know about Venus. She's very fast. She doesn't hit incredibly hard, but she has, you know, again, HP burn and one of the best debuffers inside the entire game with the blind with infatuation ability. So Venus is definitely on my most wanted list as well. Just a tremendous champion overall. Now, no epics on today's Sacred Order list, and guess what? No rares either. But I'm not joking with you guys. I thought long and hard about this because I wanted to compare him to some other champions that I was not including on the list, but Armiger helps you in so many different areas inside the game. I decided to include him, an uncommon champion, in my top 25 most wanted list because, again, I'm thinking of it as if, Plaram's going to hand me some champions. I guess by that letter of the rule here, I would just farm Armiger, but I still wanted to include him because I think he's that good now. He has the turn meter on his A1, and which is really nice to have, defense-based champion, 30% turn meter depletion on a 2-skill, kit. And this second ability, Later Rest, is so strong, but it's on a 2-turn cooldown, man. So he's basically alternating. One turn, he's depleting turn meter by 30%, and the next turn, he's blocking revival, but more importantly, hitting very, very hard based on enemy max HP and scaling a little bit off his defense as well on a 2-turn cooldown. And again, everybody's putting Armiger in destroy sets, using him against Scarab King and a variety of other bosses. He's always been a beast against Spider as well. So Armiger I'm including on the list. You can hate me if you want to, but I think he's just an absolute stud of a champion who deserved a mention and a big nod in today's video. Moving on to Barbarians. Sorry, I just went for a run, and you ever run in the winter and go for a jog or something and you get all like stuffed up? That's what happened to me. I apologize. Anyway, man, I really want to include Scylla the Drakes on this list. Who could I take out? And this is the problem that you get to when you make these lists. She really belongs there, and you guys, I'm going to put her on there. I'll take somebody else out, as we move through this video. I'm putting Scylla the Drakes on my top 25 list, and it's going to be controversial. She's not a sexy champion because she's free. And free champions don't feel sexy to some people, It feels like void champions inherently get a little bit extra added value because they're difficult to get. But Scylla the Drakes, I don't care if she's free. She has a guaranteed stun almost if you put her in a stun set on Wing Beat Flurry. She hits all enemies 2 times, each time with an independent 35% chance of landing a stun. Put her in a stun set, add Fearsome Presence Tier 6 Mastery from the defense tree, and you're looking like almost a guaranteed stun. Very close to on the A2 on a 3-turn cooldown. She also has a Revival and an Ally Protect. Really solid to have. And then she also has a 10% max HP heal every single turn, and then an increased speed on 2 random allies, or on a random ally for 2 turns, every single turn, man. Scylla Drakes, unabashedly, again, she's my favorite champion in the game, and yeah, she just is. She's that incredible. Next up, we have Valkyrie. Valkyrie, I'm actually right now taking her out of a Swift Parry set, putting her inside a Reflex set because, man, she's a beast. Not only is she so annoying and so good in the arena, she can cut in turns and go and make your team go faster than the other team, which is so annoying to actually fight against with her Jealousy passive. And then she has an OP shield and an OP counterattack here on a 3-turn cooldown on Stand Firm. I mean, Valkyrie just is an incredible champion. Definitely, for me, I might put her top 5 overall if I just had to choose, Next up is Ursica. Could maybe be off the list for Scylla the Drakes, but I'll give her a nod anyway. She has very high speed for a big lady. Nothing against my big girls, but, very, very fast. Don't underestimate 108. Very, very high defense, very, very high HP. She is an absolute beast when it comes to debuffing, decreased crit damage or decreased attack if their attack is higher than their defense, decreased speed and decreased defense if their attack is lower to their defense. So again, I've said this before, but on 3-turn cooldown and barrel through, she's doing exactly what you need to whoever you need it against. So, don't be confused by this ability and think, it's too confusing, or I just want the decreased crit damage and decreased attack. She's basically neutralizing both the attackers and the defenders in the best way possible in one ability. Think of it that way. She also has the strengthen the ally protect, and she also has the damage, decrease the damage all allies receive on critical hits by 30%. And she receives that damage instead. That's a very, very strong passive, guys. 30%. She has like a built-in stalwart in her kit. That's really, really strong. So that's Ursica Warcaller. That is it for Barbarians. I'm going to go back through the list and double check at the end just to make sure I didn't forget everybody. But let's move on to Ogren Tribe. Ogren Tribe I might not have included. I didn't include anybody in my top 25. However, we could easily include a few of these champions. Ignatius is really, really, really good. Actually, I'm using him more often than Biggin right now, although Biggin is an incredible nuker as well. And of course, we always should mention Skull Crusher as one of the counterattack champions in this game. And Maneater, just so fundamental to unkillable teams. You guys get what I'm saying when I say there could be 100 champions listed in this top 25. You can easily make the case. Here we have Dracomorph, definitely included on our list. Still has a hard-hitting A1 even after the nerf on Seeping Pain. Deals surplus damage. We're talking, 100, 200,000 plus damage on this. We have Poison Jaws, 4 times at random, each hit with a strong version of Poison on a 3-turn cooldown, and then Weaken, decreased defense on the Baleful Eye on a 3-turn cooldown. The thing that people don't realize about Dracomorph is, look at this attack too, 1520, a high base attack, good multipliers on this champion. He deals a ton of damage, man. I mean, I think that most people know that, inherently, intuitively, but when you get him, when I got him, I was like, wow, he really does deal a ton of damage. He's like, between the poisons and the incredibly hard-hitting A1, he's a nuker and one of the best debuffers in the game. Fushan, very, very good. Didn't make the list, though. We do have Krisk the Ageless. Definitely, well, in my opinion, he is a top 5 champion in the game as well. I'm going to kind of call out these top 5 candidates as we get to them. AoE on every attack. And this one, unlike Ethos, really does have an AoE on every attack. Decreased speed on the A1. He has an ally protect on the A2 with a continuous heal on himself. Increased duration of all ally buffs. Damage based on defense on a 3-turn cooldown here. High base defense at 1520. And then has a provoke on all enemies for 1 turn. On a 3-turn cooldown on Invincible Shell. Plus the increased defense on himself. Plus the increased speed on all allies. Wow. Then has a shield at the beginning of every single round on all allies for 2 turns, equal to 50% of this champion's max HP. Has a decreased defense and a decreased attack when an attacker, when hit by the attacker, or on the attacker, there we go, for 1 turn when hit. Dude. Yeah, Krisk is just absolutely insane. So there's Krisk of the Ageless. We're moving over to Skinwalkers here, guys. Do we have any Skinwalkers on the list? No, we do not. Skinwalkers, I think, they're hurting. They're hurting. They have definitely some good champions. Steel Skull, obviously. The Bears are not bad. They're nowhere near the top 20 conversation, even in Epics, but still they're not bad. Longbeard, I guess, would probably be my most wanted out of the Skinwalkers. And Kornar is really good. However, he's just not, to me, he's just not close to top 20, top 25 champion in the game. Orcs, however, we do have Warlord. So Warlord definitely does make the list. On the A1, he has the increasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn, which is pretty solid to have on a 40% chance. And then he has block buffs on Protection of the Gods, block buffs on all allies for 1 turn, and then a shield buff equal to 30% of his max HP for 2 turns, plus the heal of 25%, one of the better support abilities in the game on a 3-turn cooldown. Orcish Ritual, this is so annoying in the arena, has a 100% chance to put each target skills on cooldown, and then has a 60% chance to fully deplete each target's turn meter on a 4-turn cooldown. Orcish Rituals, yeah, Warlord, very, very good champion inside this game. Hey, it's another epic champion that made our list today, guys. It's Seer. Seer is insane. I think that Seer is the best dungeon nuker in the game. Yeah. Best dungeon nuke, certainly for the waves. She's the best dungeon nuker in the game, all because of Karma Burn. It deals a ton of damage. Let's just kind of get that out of the way, right? Deals a ton of damage. Talking 300,000 plus damage on waves. But even more so than that, especially in Doom Tower when the going gets tough, when you're dealing with 15 buffs seemingly on every single opponent that you're dealing with, I mean, she's removing all the buffs from all allies and all enemies. So all allies kind of sucks. It makes your team vulnerable. But all enemies is incredibly, helpful. And the most important word in this entire ability is then, right? So she's removing all these strong, ridiculous, counterattacks and shields and everything else. And then she's dealing 300,000 damage. Really, really strong. And she's keeping all the debuffs there too. It's not like it's all debuffs and all buffs. It's just all buffs. So yeah, she's, in my opinion, the best dungeon nuker, the best wave nuker, the best Doom Tower nuker inside the entire game. so definitely belongs on this list. I don't see how I could not include her. Kriela is really close for me in terms of a top orc champion, but she didn't really make the cut, but very, very close. Demon Spawn. So, Demon Spawn, guys, again, huge honorable mention here to Candrafon, but, you know, he's mainly used inside the arena right now, so I did not include him on today's list. Prince Kymar saw a huge uptick in value inside this game because of Doom Tower, but the thing with Prince Kymar is he's great anywhere, and he's great in the arena. Certainly, he has that arena speed aura. He was the second legendary I ever pulled. He's a beast because of the Seal of Magic ability, but the thing about him is that he's best when he's paired with, like, very niche teams in Doom Tower and stuff like that. So I think he's like one of the best whale champions in the entire game. But in terms of top 20, I don't know, or top 25, I guess you can make the case he still belongs there, right? But either way, I did include Duchess because Duchess is insane. She was one of the biggest game changers that I was able to pull on my account. Has this increased attack and block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns with the perfect Veil, and then has a revival, all dead allies with the Veil and 70% HP with the continuous heal. Very, very solid, and then decreases the damage taken from all allies by AoE attacks by 25%, 15 from bosses. What an incredible champion, has speed in all battles as well. Duchess, just one of the best supports overall inside the game. I wish I had her for Demon Spawn Faction Wars. I didn't at the time. She would have been such a difference maker. Another kind of honorable mention to Allure because she's being used more and more lately, especially with Doom Tower. Very good turn meter manipulator in the game. Next up, we have Undead Horde here, guys, and I'm putting Bad Alcazar back on my top 25 list. He was kind of hovering there for a while. He was considered, you know, again, like OG top 5 champion in the game. He fell off a little bit, but he's always been, you know, he's always been a beast in this game, and now with Reflex buff, in case you missed my Bad Alcazar video, check that video out. I'll link it in the description. Good God, he's a beast. Malice on a 3-turn cooldown has removes all debuffs from all allies, then places continuous heals, then places 2 poisons on all enemies for 2 turns, and that's it. And he has an AoE attack with a heal on the A1. But you put these 2 abilities together in a reflex, and it's just like Malice. Removes all debuffs, more continuous heals, more poisons on the enemies. Dude, this guy is sick. He is sick. Great for clan boss with the cleanse. Absolutely unbelievable. Great for every dungeon in the game, especially Dragon. All allies inflict 20% more damage against targets under poison, and he's constantly placing these poisons. Bad Alcazar is just second to none because of that ability. Just an insane champion. A lot of good champions here. I see like 3 or 4 champions that I could put in on the list here, but I'm gonna keep it moving. We're gonna go down to Sify the Lost Bride. Even with the nerf to Whirlwind Romance, changing it from a 5 to a 6-turn cooldown or a 3 to a 4-turn cooldown when booked, it's still one of the best abilities support in the game. Block debuffs, increase defense, increase speed on all allies for 2 turns. With the turn meter, it got changed from 15% to 10% on the Whirlwind Romance. Even with a nerf, I think it's still an incredible ability, and Love Beyond Death is still, you know, up there, you know, either number 2 or 3 in terms of the best revivals in the entire game. Revives a single ally with a full turn meter, places increased attack and increased crit rate buff on that ally for 2 turns. Just really good. 4-turn cooldown is no miracle, but with the full turn meter is really special, and that's why I love it so much. You know, I guess you would put it behind what, Cardinals, you know, revival, but still really good. Heals each ally by 10% of their max HP at the start of their turn. Has a 40%, making a 50% chance of removing freeze and fear debuffs from each ally at the start of their turn as well. A nice little passive to have there. And then resist in all battles by 80. One of the better resist auras in the game as well. And one of the fastest champions in the game at 114. And Sify the Lost Bride still makes my list. Now we have, actually, here we go. Ooh, Nekret the Great. He is on my wish list. He's very high. He's one of only 2 champions in the game, I believe, with 6 abilities here alongside Little Miss Annie, who I'm a big fan of, but she doesn't make the list. Nekret the Great is very great. Has a decreased attack on the A1. On the A2, he has an ally attack. Teams up with allies to attack 1 enemy. All allies under ally protection buffs placed by this champion will join the attack. Grants an extra turn if the attack does not kill the target. which is actually really cool on a 4-turn cooldown. And then place a block debuffs, ally protect, and a strengthen buff on any ally for 3 turns. And it cannot be removed. That's on a 3-turn cooldown. Check out the passive here. Whenever an ally is attacked while under ally protect, placed by this champion, places a shield buff on that ally equal to 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns, or whatever. Also decreases the cooldown of this champion's Legion of the Damned skill by 2 turns if the shield buff is placed. Legion of the Damned is the ally protect, right? And then the second passive, place a block debuffs buff and a strengthen buff for 3 turns on the ally with the lowest max HP at the start of each round. Also places an ally protect buff on them for 6 turns, and the buff cannot be removed. So every turn, he's recruiting allies to be on his Legion of the Damned, and every time they get attacked, this passive triggers Unsleeping of Aegis, and then that's gonna, decrease the cooldown of Legion of the Damned. You guys see why this kit has so much kind of incredible synergy? Man, I really want this champion. Really want this champion. He is incredible, man. Really wish I could get this dude. So Necra the Great definitely belongs on the list. Mashald and Nethril, huge honorable mentions. They could very, very well be on this list, but I decided to include Uros the Soul Cage instead. A new champion. This dude's all about poisons. Let's read his passive first, guys. When attacked, has a 75% chance when booked of placing a poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. Whenever an ally is attacked while under a strengthened buff, has a 75% chance of placing a provoke debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. Increases champion's max HP by 5% whenever an enemy receives damage from a poison debuff placed by this champion. Whenever an enemy receives damage from a poison debuff placed by this champion, also decreases their max HP by 5%. Really, really strong and cool passive. Also places that strengthen and ally protect on a 3-turn cooldown. And then on the A2, an AoE attack with decreased speed and a stun depending on how many poisons they're under. Really cool. And then has a shield buff on this champion on his A1 as well. And it increases for each poison on the target. He's an HP based champion. Really cool Doom Tower only champion in the game. So that is it. We have no other rarities included here in the overall top 25. Dark Elves. So a quick scan. The only legendary I don't have in Dark Elves is Xayvia, and she's the only one, actually not the only one, but she makes the list today. Xayvia is such a Again, a champion who we saw, like Seer, had a huge kind of increase in total potential thanks to Doom Tower. She's one of the best kind of just fast nukers in the game. And if you can nuke fast, it's not about speed, but it's about efficiency, right? If you can nuke and kill the opponent fast, well, guess what? They're not going to be living on to kill you and annoy you, right? So definitely one of the leading strategies is absolute just burn your enemies down before they can get all those annoying buffs and debuffs kind of going. So attacks all enemies. Enemies killed by this kill cannot be revived, and then deals damage from all poison debuffs on the target instantly, dealing half damage when they hit bosses. But Deadly Catalyst is just like an insane AoE attack. And then Poison Rain attacks all enemies 2 times, and each hit has a 75% chance of placing a poison for 2 turns on the A2. Xayvia is definitely a very, very cool champion inside the game. And the other champion, Ghostborn's very close. He has a really, really cool ability that gives the decreased defense and increased attack that cannot be resisted. But he's not going to make the list. Instead, Lydia, the Death Siren, is going to make the list. She has, a long kit, but I'm just going to cover the highlights here. An AoE attack with the weaken and decreased defense, similar to Venus, similar to Dracomorph, on the same ability on a 3-turn cooldown. But she also places a strengthen and increased speed buff on all allies, all on this 3-turn cooldown. Very cool. She has a block, poison sensitivity, block buffs, and a block cooldown skills on a 3-turn cooldown on her A3. And then she denies enemy revive attempts. And then instead she revives either herself herself or one of your own allies instead on a 7-turn cooldown on her passive. And she has the best resist aura in the arena in the game by 100. So that is it there. Honorable mentions certainly to Madame Ceres here as we kind of go through these champions. But moving on to Knight Revenant, do I have anybody included in Knight Revenant on this list? I do not. I don't think. Actually, I do. Thea the Tomb Angel. So Thea the Tomb Angel has a Hex on the A1. And then attacks all enemies. Damage increases by 50% for each Hex debuff on the enemy. Stacks up to 300%. So, and then on the A3, a Perfect Veil in this chamber for 3 turns grants an extra turn. And then on the passive, 50% chance of placing a True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn whenever an enemy loses 30% or more of their max HP in a single hit. Wow. That's an amazing CC ability to have in her kit. And this isn't just off of her abilities, it's off of any of your allies doing 30% or more of their max HP damage to an enemy. So for waves, that's an incredible passive to have. She has a very high base attack. Nobody has her at the time of this recording in the game because she's a Doom Tower champion, but we already do know from data mining that this Hex Reaper, if the opponent does have Hex, will be the highest multipliers out of any ability inside Raid Shadow Legends on Hex Reaper. So I'm including her on this list just on a hunch that this is going to do absolutely sick, disgusting, insane damage, okay? So again, on this one, it cannot be resisted either, the Hex, right? And each critical hit decreases the cooldown of Not Out of This World skill by 1 turn. And that is the Perfect Veil, which grants an extra turn again. So Thea the Tomb Angel does make the list in Knight Revenant. In Dwarves, we have only one, and it's Trunda. The best arena nuker inside the game. We had to give it to Trunda, so how could we not include the #1 arena nuker in the game on this list? You can build her to be kind of a spider specialist too, if you build her with high accuracy. However, people who use her in the arena, we purposely try to build her with very, very low accuracy. That way on this Forge Rhythm, we're only hitting, 2 times, so we can kill those Rochoses and just do overall more damage, as opposed to landing the HP burn and or the stun. On the Cloak of Ages too, this ability, it was just fixed. She would never auto onto this ability. She would never use it on auto, which is so annoying. Now that that is fixed, or the fix is coming, I'm not sure if it's actually in game yet, but they just announced it a couple of days ago. That's going to make her so much more useful on auto attack in dungeons as kind of a wave killer, because right now she just can't live up to her true potential, because this Cloak of Ages, I believe, has a 6-time multiplier on it, which right now for an AoE attack is the highest in the game for an attack-based champion. However, aside from Thea the Tomb Angel, however, it does 60% of the damage from the first hit, so that is obviously, not a true 6-time multiplier. So guys, anyway, that is Trunda Gilt Mallet. Let me see who I already forgot somebody. All right, we didn't go down far enough. We have 2 rare champions to include on this list inside the top 25. I think I gave it 26 because I didn't take anybody off for Trunda or for Scylla the Drake, so my bad on that one. We have Coldheart. I have to include Coldheart. If I'm going to include Armiger, why wouldn't I include Coldheart? She is amazing. She's easily the most sought after rare champion in the game. When I was doing a Cirilla interview, she actually was like, everybody has Coldheart, right? And man, I knew it. I even said it in the interview. I'm like, dude, so many people are going to say they don't, unless you're going to give them a free Coldheart. But this ability, Heartseeker, is so good. Decreases target's max turn meter by 100%. Deals a ton of damage. She's an absolute stud of a champion. The best Fire Knight champion in the game. I run 2 of her in Fire Knight. I would recommend you guys do too. A lot of people run 2 or even 3 Coldhearts against bosses in Doom Tower, 2 or even 3 Coldhearts in Spider's Den as well. I know I do. I mean, if you're using if end game players are using 2 or 3 Coldhearts in a variety of different areas, I mean, you could call her a top 5 champion in the game. Could you not? Let me know if I'm wrong. The other rare champion that we didn't get to is actually in Dwarves, and I'm including him, Khazar Deepheart, because again, we talked about this when we did a champion guide on him. Not only does he do a lot of damage, he's actually a pretty decent nuker, but also this ability, increase accuracy on all allies for 2 turns, is going to be a game changer, especially for the arena. But he's the only champion inside the entire game, aside from Stag Knight, who just has it on a single target on his passive pinpoint accuracy. He's the only champion that has this ability, increase accuracy. That's it. You know, this ability is even more scarce than counterattack in this game, and it is a rare champion who has it. And again, he puts out some decent damage as well, and he has this kind of turn meter fill on his AoE attack on Flailing Pick. So I believe he needs to be on the list just because of the scarcity of what he brings to the table. So other than that, guys, we have Khazar, Trunda, Martyr, Xavier, Arbiter, Thea the Tomb Angel, Ethos, Badel, Seer, Septimus, Royal Guard, Ursaga, Coldheart, Urost, Duchess, Draco, Krisk, Lydia, Lysandra, Scylla the Drakes, Raglan, Siphi, Valkyrie, Venus, Warlord, and Nekret the Great. That is my top 26 champions in the game. Let me know who I forgot, guys, in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.